You're quite right, we didn't spell out a vision. And you're also quite right that I'm not sure that the left generally has spelt out a vision on transport, certainly for the last 20 years. And that needs to be done. But I think, what I was perhaps trying to say is I think part of spelling out a vision, an essential part of it, is showing people in practical terms what that will mean. Yes, perhaps we do need to have written down somewhere what a vision is. I'm sure that's right. But actually, given the fact, I think you said, Sanjay, given the fact that our transport system is built around roads, and what this guy here was saying about planning is so important. Given the fact that I think a vision, a socialist green vision, would be so fundamentally different to what we've got right now, I think we've got to start by, yes, having the vision, but essentially spelling that out in ways that will relate to people. And that's why I was going on about easy to cross the road, cycle lanes, privatisation of the railways, and so on. Because I think that's where we have to start if we've got any chance of making that vision happen. A little word on aviation, because there were one or two potentially different viewpoints coming up. Yes, aviation is a real problem in terms of emissions and in terms of noise. I think Jonathan's right, was very positive what you had to say, that there are possible ways of reducing those emissions. I think what our friend was saying for RMT, I basically go along with this. I mean, I don't think we should be in the game of saying to people, thou shalt not fly, because there are great advantages. I mean, the rich have always flown. There are great advantages of working people flying across continents. But what I think is true is that we can't all go on flying in quite the same way we are right now. There's one startling statistic that only 5% of the people in the world have ever flown. Now, what's going to happen if the 95% start flying in the way that the 5% currently fly? John, it won't be three. It won't be three runways at Heathrow. It won't be 4 or 5 or 6. Forget about West Drayton or even Uxbridge. They'll all be runways. It can't happen, and it can't happen in emissions terms. It seems to me what we've got to look at is the place to fly. Flying, essentially, it seems to me, is for where there is no realistic alternative. There are good alternatives increasingly in video conferencing. You're absolutely right, and there's been studies done to back that up. But for intercontinental journeys, it's flying. I think that means we've got to find ways of having modal shift for short-haul flights from air to rail. Not for every single short-haul flight, but where you do have effective, efficient, and critically affordable rail services, then you will get that modal shift. So I think it's looking at flying positively, but critically looking at the role that flying and flying alone can play. I'm not going to say much more because it's almost 5 o'clock. A lot about the place of the car. I think, to go back to, it's almost a sense of vision thing and the planning thing. Yeah, cars have got to be tamed, but I believe cars have got to be tamed positively because people do like their car, and it's a question of looking at positive alternatives so the car is used less. Two final things. I think, Sean, you gave us the quote of the day by saying the car is capital heroine made concrete. So I'll nick that and tweet it tomorrow. And finally, Jonathan, your next conference, you said it in Holland, it was good-looking socialists. so I'm wondering if your next conference you're going to be saying, is it good-looking socialists only, or can you tick at least one of the boxes?